Today we'll have a look at this pen. Woo! That knocking is not actually poltergeist, it's actually people working on the house next to us. Now, this is a Muji pen. Muji, and people go berserk over Muji. I've received so many requests to review a Muji pen, and I just couldn't do it because there were no Mujis here. Then I was in Cologne, and in Cologne there was a Muji, and I walked into the Muji, and I got the pen, and I purchased it, and now I'm reviewing it. So here you have it, okay? This is the regular Muji. Now, I wrote this down. It's called the Muji Aluminum. This is a €9.95 pen, so it's not a very expensive pen, and it has some interesting stuff going for it. Now, just for those of you who are not familiar with the concept of Muji, like I was up till about a week or two ago, Muji, as I understand it, is a bit like a Japanese IKEA. So it is a company that tries to make all kinds of products for reasonable prices and with a minimalist design. And they also make some pens, all kinds of pens, and one of them is this. And I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Okay, Muji Aluminum / Aluminum. This is the pen. It's very tubular, as you can see. It's very round. The finial there is very fascinating. It's a sort of rubbery material, very interesting. Then you have the cap. It's a very small cap. All of this is just, that's cap. And you have a clip. Now this clip I'll show you in a second. And you have this knurled material. I don't know how close the camera can get to that. Yeah, it looks okay. You get this nice knurled material for a good grip. And then you have the barrel, also aluminum. And then again, that rubbery material at the top, and a little circle. And I'll show you the point of that circle in a second. But first, let's uncap the pen. It pulls off. Now, what's the joke in that little circle? Look at this cap. The cap has that little thing sticking out. You see that little thing sticking out? You see the little ring? Oh, yeah. It fits together just like that. And the beauty of that is that you can post this pen. It's not really necessary because it's actually a pretty long pen, even unposted, but so as not to lose your cap, you can do that if you really want to. The nib, it looks a bit like a Schmidt nib. I've seen this nib before in the Visconti Classic. That is not exactly a $9.95 pen, but it has the same nib. This looks like a fine, and it has a little bit of scroll work. And you have this ridiculously small thing there, which obviously you can't hold, so you have to hold this. And that is, to be honest, something that offers a decent grip. It's metal, but because of that knurled stuff they put on, it's comfortable to hold. It works well. Okay, the pen takes cartridges. I put in a Schmidt converter that fits quite easily, I would say. So you can also put in a cartridge, and I think if you put in a cartridge you can put a secondary cartridge in the end of the barrel, so you have a spare. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that clip. Can you see that clip? It's fairly flimsy. I'm pretty sure I can snap this off without much of an issue. Okay, the writing, I have some paper next to me. Of course I've tried it before, but I just want to, yeah. My experience with this is not exactly mind-blowing. It's a decent nib. It writes. It's fairly fine, and it gives quite some feedback. So this is not a heartbreakingly smooth nib, but bear in mind it is a $9.95 pen, and that's pretty much all there's to it. Okay, so what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, there are a few things I do really like about it. The design is not for everyone, but it's, you know, it's neat. It's very industrial looking, and they definitely stuck. Muji, I mean, definitely stuck to their minimalist principles, because if anything, this is a very minimalist design. I like that. I also like the fact that it's €9.95. I mean, that's not much. It's fairly inexpensive. This puts it into the range of some cheaper Chinese pens, but for sure this is made well. I mean, that little posting mechanism in the cap It's a little hard to do this when you're trying to look at the camera, sorry, but I mean, it works well. It gives a satisfying sort of clicky thing, and it is secure, as you can see. So it's nice. Clearly thought went into this. My issue with this mainly is the nib. I just don't find the nib that great. I couldn't figure out in the store if you can also get this in other nib options. I know that someone's going to call me out on that, so I thought I'd mention it here. The nib didn't blow me away. I do like that you can use cartridges and a converter. Converter fits without much issue, so that's nice. You don't get a converter, so you either have to have something lying around or purchase something somewhere. And that's it. It's not a bad pen. I must admit, I don't really get the rage. I don't understand why. Sorry, that's not English. I don't really get the whole hype of this. People seem to go berserk over Muji pens. I don't get it. I don't. But that's just me. I'm sure that there are people who love this type of pen, and that's great. To each his own. So there you have it. A nice, light, but industrial, cool-looking pen. I think we need to see how it writes. That's what we're going to do next. The packaging, by the way, was very simple. Just a plastic sleeve with some instructions on how to fill it in Japanese. We need to see how the pen writes. That's what we're going to do next. I will... the measurements, dimensions of the pen will be on the website, sbrebrown.com, as well as high-resolution pictures. Writing sample is up next. Hope this was useful so far, and I'm glad to see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so here we go with this Muji Aluminum. Nib gives a lot of feedback. You can probably hear that. What I find fascinating is that it's almost a bit like it's a very slightly stubby nib as well. Interesting. Anyway, fast writing. The ink, by the way, is Pelican Royal Blue. Okay, no skips. It does have good flow. It is a fairly fine nib. I would say it is not the world's wettest writer, but for such a fine nib, I think it's actually definitely on the wet side of things. Line variation. You can definitely squeeze out some, so that's nice for those of you who enjoy that. And finally, reverse writing. Definitely cutting into the paper, so that is, again, on the scratchy side of things. Not a very pleasant experience. The pen as a whole, interesting. Okay, I hope that was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.